Hey guys, does the address on an arrest warrant have to be the same as where it's served at? I'll explain what I mean by that, but my name is Anthony Bandiero, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing in a roadside chat. This question comes from an officer from Iowa. So the officer, a little background here. Can you do a video on if the address on the arrest warrant is no longer current? For example, we have a guy in our town who often has warrants from other jurisdictions. He recently moved into a house in town and has admitted he lives there. If another agency issues a warrant for him based on his previous address history with them, am I good to serve that warrant at his home? Maybe you can talk about other examples that establish residency, right? Name on utilities, seen moving things. Another resident says he lives there, cars in the driveway every night, etc. This is a very good question, and I don't have a particular case actually on this issue, but I'm pretty confident in my answer. The answer is that the address does not need to reflect where he lives. Okay, so we get our seminal case on here about where we can serve arrest warrants is Payton versus New York. And there, the U.S. Supreme Court told us that we can serve an arrest warrant at the person's domicile, residence, right? Dwelling, whatever you want to call it. We can serve it there if we have a reason to believe that that is their residence and the person is home at the time of service. Okay, let's kind of break down a few of these things. Now, when I teach about arrest warrants, I basically teach cops that they need three things before you can physically enter a home and serve that arrest warrant. Number one is a valid arrest warrant. You know, before I'm going to go into a home, I'm going to make sure dispatch that warrant is still valid, right? Okay. Number two is the Supreme Court said, you know, reason to believe that this is the person's domicile. Some courts have taken that to mean that all you need is at least reasonable suspicion that the place entered is their domicile. I would like to actually teach you that it's going to be most likely it's going to be probable cause requirement, that it's their domicile, because you're dealing with the home, and you know you don't want to make a mistake here. If a cop just has a reason to believe that it's the person's home, but it really isn't because it's not probable cause level, and maybe it's just a factor or two. The guy's car's in the driveway, for example, at night, and you use some kind of force. I just think that you're going to be under the gun here by the courts about why you entered the home with very few facts. So I want cops to articulate at least, you know, a fair probability that this is the person's domicile. Now, the third requirement is reason to believe he is home at the time of execution. Now, that's another thing that the courts don't necessarily agree on. Some circuit courts think that that's just reasonable suspicion level, that at the time of the service. Other courts, like the Ninth Circuit, they want at least probable cause, again, that the person's home at the time of execution. This one is a little bit more debatable for me. I think the Supreme Court would be a little easier, right? A little easier for cops to articulate that at the time that you executed, that you believe that the person was home. Things like, again, you have reason to believe it's his house and the car's in the driveway. Somebody says, yeah, he's upstairs. Obviously, that's probably probable cause, if not more like certainty, right? All right, so to recap, valid arrest warrant, check. Probable cause that he's living at that domicile, that is his domicile, check. And third, reason to believe he's home at the time of execution. Now moving into how do we establish residency, domicile? It's a totality of circumstances, right? The fact that it's not the address on the warrant, I believe, is constitutionally irrelevant, right? Constitutionally irrelevant. So we look to things like utility bills. We do look at things like what did the other roommates say? Hey, you heard that he works at McDonald's. You go there to try to hook him up. He's not there. And you say, hey, manager, how long's he been working here? And the manager says, oh, a couple of weeks. And you say, can I see the employment application? And he brings it out, and it has that address on there, right? He's putting down 555 Main Street on his employment application as his domicile. These are all things that are going to lead an officer to believe that that is his domicile. Now, Be careful with couch surfers, right? If a person, a person staying overnight at another person's house, that is not the definition of a domicile. A domicile is where a legal definition of a domicile is where a person has an intent to basically permanently stay. Like this is my home for the foreseeable future. That's in a nutshell what a domicile is under the law. It's not, hey, I have the intent to just hang out for a few days. That person is known as a guest, it's not a residence for them. At the same time, you don't have to be correct. You just have to be reasonable. So if you learn later and the guy says, oh, I was staying there for a week, but I wasn't going to stay there forever, that's probably not going to work. I mean, if you have reason to believe that is their domicile, then you go with it. All right. And if you are unsure and you're like, man, I don't know, it seems kind of iffy that this is their domicile, then go back to a judge, write an affidavit about why you think this new address is their home, and get the judge to agree with it and change the warrant with the new address, the arrest warrant with the new address. Okay. Okay. Hope that helps. Keep the questions coming. Until next time, my friends, stay safe. And if you don't mind hitting like, subscribe, and share with your friends, I really appreciate it. All right. See you guys.